Hey guys, Cody Barton here. Welcome to my channel, and I want to share with you a little bit more about what specifically an integrator does within a business and a little bit about the visionary integrator relationship, but more so just to focus on the integrator as a whole. And the reason I want to share this with you is for you to understand at the end of this video, where you can go to be able to find out a little bit more about yourself. Because once you start to understand what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, you can double down on your strengths and become a lot more successful. So you stop wasting all of your time on doing some of the things that you're not as good at, so you can just excel in the things that you're already pretty talented at. And one of the best books that helped me understand this was actually this book right here, Rocket Fuel, right? And this book is by Gino Wickman, and it helps you really kind of break down the integrator visionary relationship. It helps you, it actually has a test in there. You can go and once you buy that book, you can take the test and understand if you're more visionary or if you're more integrator. So I do want to focus a lot more on integrator stuff in this video, but just understanding, briefly, a visionary for a company is more so that person that has the really big picture thinking. They're typically more of the salesperson. They like to close big deals. They like to create big relationships. They like to put together a vision and, these grandiose ideas. But oftentimes the visionaries aren't as good at executing on the vision or the follow-up or the nitty-gritty, all of the fine details. Usually they're not details people. And so that's where it works really well to have a visionary integrator relationship to come together, because the visionary has the big picture ideas, the big grandiose plans, and the integrator, as we're going to get into here in just a minute, are typically more detail oriented, more of how to make the things happen, how to put the things together, how to make that idea come to life, and put real action steps into place to make sure that that can actually happen. So as an integrator for multiple different businesses, I've had a lot of people ask, they say, hey Cody, what are you doing like day to day? Like, what does that look like? Within, for those of you that know Pace Morby, my business partner, he's the visionary, I'm the integrator, and people ask, what do you do every day? Like, what's your day-to-day look like? And so I want to kind of, break that down a little bit more to kind of understand, as an integrator, your job is really kind of to be that steady force. And what do I mean by that? So the steady force is that person that's like the, row the boat, row the boat, row the boat, row the boat. And that's, keeping things moving consistently. It's moving the day-to-day operations forward. It's following up on those little details. It's bringing all of the departments together. So like things that I'm doing is I'm looking at the finances. I'm forecasting out the next 30, 60, 90 days. How are our finances? How is our financial health right now? How can I make some small adjustments to increase the profitability that we're getting in our company? How do I tweak some things to lower our operating expenses? So I'm looking at the finances, I'm looking at the hiring, I'm looking at our HR, our hiring process, our onboarding process to be able to bring, people on into our different companies. And then I'm looking at what's going on day to day. What were our numbers today? What were our numbers last week? What were our numbers last month? And then I'm working on accountability within the teams. It's looking at, whatever metric I'm tracking with each company, it's how many dials were made today? How many people did you outreach to? If it's the fix and flip business, reaching out to our project manager. How are we doing on our projects? Where are we falling behind? Where are we, under budget, or where are we maybe over budget? And basically just kind of bringing everything together. The visionary puts all of the pieces out there. The integrator grabs each individual piece and brings them together to basically build. Imagine it's like a conveyor belt. The visionary throws all of these ideas up in the air, and as the integrator, my job is to basically establish the conveyor belt and then grab all of those pieces and decide where those pieces are going to work better. Okay, this one needs to go here, this one here, and so we have a smooth conveyor belt operation that's happening, and that's what I'm always looking for. It's looking for those inefficiencies within the business. Now, as an integrator, sometimes you can get a bad rap. And the challenge is because a visionary has these big ideas. So as the integrator, you need to act as the voice of reason. I have to shut down some ideas that Pace will come up with. I'll have to shut down ideas that come up that just don't really make sense, that are going to come in and create too much chaos within the organization. Because my job is to keep things organized and keep things humming along. And so you can, as an integrator, these are just some of the things that I realize and that I understand and I'm just okay with. As the integrator, you're typically not being applauded. The visionary is the one that's getting the reward and the celebration typically. As an integrator, it's behind the scenes work. It's these, behind the scene grinds and putting pieces together and little just fidgety things together to help the business run. And so as the integrator, you're usually not as appreciated. You're not in the, the limelight getting the attention for the results that's happening for the business. And you're often seen as the naysayer and the person that is, preventing the business, and, in a visionary's eyes sometimes from moving forward. But hey, there's a saying in rocket fuel. It's, if you're a visionary, know your life and be blessed. And there's, the second part of that saying is, if you're an integrator, know your life and be stressed. So that's just, knowing who you are. It's just kind of a funny saying because as the integrator, I'm always in the details and trying to work out all of those little details and moving projects and moving things forward. One thing I do want you to understand though is, it's not all bad being the integrator. I don't want you to think that, oh, poor me, or oh, poor integrator, if that's you, right? Like I love what I do every single day. I'm super grateful and super blessed for everything that I get to do. I get to do the things that I love to do, and I'm able to pass off the things that I don't really like to do to other people within the business or, my partners to do some of those things as well. And if you want to look at some of the, one of the most successful integrator visionary partnerships ever was, I'm sure you've heard of Disneyland. Walt Disney. Have you ever heard of Roy Disney? That was Walt's brother. And most people, they've never heard of Roy, but Walt came up with these crazy ideas to build out Disneyland. And who made all of those ideas happen? Roy Disney. He was the one that was behind the scenes making those things happen. Not remembered, mostly forgotten, but he's the reason that, Disneyland and everything with Disney became what it is today. So, as an integrator, you play an important role. I understand how important the role is that I play within the businesses that I help operate. But, there's just certain nuances that you have to understand between, integrator, visionary. And, as the integrator, it's, hey, you take responsibility for operating the businesses and making sure they run. So I'm curious to hear from you. If you're an integrator or a visionary, make a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to hear, what you are, or if you don't know what you are, I would suggest getting the book that I shared with you, Rocket Fuel by Gino Wickman. It'll help you understand whether you're more visionary, whether you're more integrator. And I think overall understanding that, whatever you are, it's to step into your greatness in that role and to just be, be happy and excited to be who you are. One of the things that I used to feel discouraged on, and this was from the schooling system, which I think is totally broken, is school tells you that you need to know everything. You need to be able to do everything. You need to know math. You need to know English. You need to know science. You need to know social studies. Like, you need to know all these subjects, but really, you can find people that are good at the things that you're not good at. And I think the biggest mistake is that a lot of people make is that they try to be good at everything instead of just doubling down on their strengths like I talked about earlier in this video. So be confident in whatever that is for you. Double down on your strengths. And if you don't know what your strengths or weaknesses are, Rocket Fuel will help you understand that a little bit more. If you have any other questions about what kind of my day looks like within being an integrator, I'm happy to answer this for you as well. If you got any value from this video, as always, make sure to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see ya in the next video.